Hi. At last, a sunny day. Oh, this is what the caribou is all about. I don't know what's happened recently. Why it was all cloudy and miserable for like 3-4 weeks, but now we're finally getting sun. All right. I am very happy about this because today is like the first day in a very long time I don't have to run the generator. I should be getting enough power that I do not have to worry about this. So this is an awesome thing. The goats have already been fed grains, and I can see they have promptly forgotten about that and wanting some more. Hi. Yes, freeloader. Hello, little freeloader. Hi. How you guys doing here? I'm taking advantage of today, and I'm finally gonna pull the engine out of the International truck. So this has been an ongoing thing for, I don't know, many days, because I wanted to strip all the parts off of it and make sure that I disconnect everything properly so I don't damage anything. So this is going to be today's goal. I was hoping to do it before it got snowy. Ideally, I would have done this way before winter, but there were other priorities. So now this is what I get to deal with. All right. Well, I think I am ready to try to pull this engine out. I've got everything disconnected as best as I could find. I made my life a little bit easier because the cab was obviously garbage anyway. And the center of gravity, because I'm pulling the engine and transmission together, is closer towards the back. But the cab kind of gets in the way of that. So I decided to cut out with the Sawzall a section of the cab to make my life easier. So okay, so the first attempt, not very good. Either the engine is too heavy for this, it's still stuck on something. Yeah, I think those are pretty much my only two options. So I'm going to try to re-rig this a little bit and see if it'll come. Okay, I've got it re-rigged a little bit, but it is entirely possible this engine and transmission are too heavy for the tractor. I could try to separate them, which is it's still a pain. I'd rather not, especially out in the snow. I can separate them in the shop. I might have to get the backhoe involved in this, which is going to be fun. Or not. Let's find out. Well, that was definitely a thing. Whew. Oh, that took a while. Oh, I am way too hot for this. Oh, all right. Well, there it is. I did forget one. I don't know what that connection was, but I did forget one of them. And that definitely made life a lot more complicated. But this is definitely pushing this engine is a lot heavier than I thought, because it's pushing the hydraulics on the tractor to the max. But wow, that took work. All right. Luckily, it does not appear that I have damaged anything. I definitely didn't drop it, which is good. So now I'm gonna get this thing out of here because it's blocking my shop, and then I'm gonna, I think, move everything in the shop around so I've got a working bay again, because right now that is all stuff that came off the truck. So I got to get all that out, probably under tarps outside, and then move the engine in so I can slowly start working on it and separate it from the transmission. But all right, this would have been significantly easier with another person, as with most things out here. But obviously, don't have that, so you make do with what you got. Takes longer, usually, and is more complicated, but at the end of the day, managed to get it out, that was the goal, and didn't do any damage. So I am pretty happy about that. Nothing is ever just simple, easy, straightforward. All right, so started towing the carcass of the truck up, and even with chains on this mild little incline, because there's ice underneath it, the tractor got stuck even with a diff locker, and pretty much has managed to make a big mess of the driveway. So I can't use the tractor. I don't have enough leverage, enough weight, and it wasn't really positioned for me to push it up the hill, but it is still easier to pull this kind of a thing than push, just for steering. But of course, okay, so that didn't work out. So unhooked it. I'm going to use the dozer since it's on tracks and it's much heavier. It has way better traction, so that'll be a lot easier. Problem is that the dozer is behind the Dodge. So first I had to jump start the Dodge to get the dozer going, and now I got to move the Dodge to get the dozer out. It's just one thing, like 10 different things to be able to do one. But the sun is shining, it's hot. It's actually really hot. Well, because I'm working also, but it's a beautiful day. So we're going to try this again, this time with the dozer. Day today. Apparently very breezy. Anyways, so I've got an engine hoist. It's rated for 2,000 pounds. I'm presuming the engine is slightly heavier than that, especially with the transmission attached to it. Because when I tried to get the engine into the shop and lift it with the engine hoist promptly decided to break. So it actually failed not where I thought it would have. The caster broke, and then this entire thing tipped over, and then the main bar actually bent right there. So it is no longer really very usable. It's also kind of a cheap Chinese piece of junk. So I don't have much of a choice, but I'm probably going to have to try to see if I can salvage some of this and rebuild it somehow with some components. I don't know. I want to figure something out. I do have some leftover racking. So maybe I can use the tubes out of that to replace these tubes here, or at least the one temporarily, just to make it work for what I need. So anyways, so for now the engine is hanging out over there, but I'm going to fix that today. So because I need to split the engine from the transmission to take some measurements to find out what it's going to take to put this commercial grade 10-speed semi-truck transmission behind it. So I have to measure a bunch of stuff and figure that out. Alrighty then, got the transmission apart. Now, this is the part that I was concerned about, because the industrial engines and transmissions are fairly compatible, but obviously there are some differences. The nice part is that usually there's adapters and then there's things that will step down for it. So I needed to find out specifically what I was dealing with here on the flywheel and clutch and the housing size. So industrial trucks have what is called SAE housings, and they range in size from whatever. You can look it up. There's different types. The issue I have here is the smaller engines usually had smaller housings, while the bigger engines and bigger transmissions had bigger ones. So this is running an SAE 1, which is a bigger housing and a bigger shaft with a bigger spline and everything else. So I am not going to be able to find an adapter that is going to, well, there's no point in trying to adapt the engine, because the engine is an SAE2, which is smaller. So this entire housing is smaller. The shaft that the transmission had is definitely smaller. So what I'm going to have to do is I could either adapt the engine side or adapt the transmission side. It's going to be easier, and I'm going to have to confirm this, because I don't know what size of bearing I have for this shaft right here. So I'm going to have to pop this open. But I know I can buy an SAE2 adapter housing for that transmission. They're about brand new. I think they're about $600–700. I can probably find a used one somewhere too. So then I would need to change the throwout bearing to a bigger one, the clutch to one that will take bigger splines, and the bearing, the pilot bearing for the input shaft. The alternative would be to try to find an SAE1 bell housing for this guy, but I would still need, at that point, very likely a different flywheel. I still would need a new clutch, so on and so forth. So, okay, things are out. So, this is the pilot bearing, and I'm going to have to find a pretty specialized bearing, because this is not a very large bearing, but obviously it's got to go into a much bigger shaft. So it's going to be interesting to find that. And then, of course, I still have to find a clutch that will work on this as well. The good thing is that Eaton, the manufacturer of the transmission and also the clutches, has a really good customer service. And if I give them the part numbers for everything that I have, they will be able to tell me what it is that I need to be able to make all of this work. So if there is off-the-shelf parts that are available, oh, and here comes Grant, my neighbor, for a visit. So if there is off-the-shelf parts that are available, I can find them thanks to them. All right, time to go say hi to Grant.